Father Stephen Fawcett. I just wanted to say a few things about fertile hearts. While I was thinking what to say, I realised today is the Feast of the Annunciation, and this is the statue of Our Lady that belonged to St Thomas More. So it just seemed appropriate to do it here today, because Mary is the example of what fertile heart is about. When we accept who we are, when we cooperate with who we are, the results are greater than anything we could possibly imagine. So following the Sacred Heart, the Immaculate Heart of Mary is the best example of a fertile heart. So she should give us that incentive to make this work for our children. So my first talk of three is just to help us think through why it is important to think through conceptually about what it is to be human. Our culture doesn't do that, and it's a bit hard. Well, it's more than a bit hard. So there's a temptation to think, oh, forget it. Imagine a rocket taking off. We've, I'm sure, seen it all on film. It is just gas expanding so that metal can go into the air and maybe to the moon. Except we know it's far more than that, yeah? And so the intricacies, the accuracy of the science that allows the gas to expand so that the rocket can go up and get to exactly where we're hoping for. We call it rocket science as sort of the epitome of clever conceptual thinking. And yet you and every child we teach are far more complex than a rocket and far more amazing as well. So the temptation to think that, oh, it's just a rocket doesn't actually make sense. And the temptation to think, oh, I'm just human, it's obvious, that doesn't make sense. We have to go a bit deeper. Our children, when they're younger, we teach them that 3 apples and 2 apples equals 5 apples. And they get that. And it's quite hard to get them to then think about 3 plus 2 equals 5. Once we've done it, we think, well, of course. But actually we're moving from sort of what we can see to what we can't see. From the visible to the conceptual. Once we've done that in numbers, we see maths is amazing. It's the same with actually letters, moving from hieroglyphics to an alphabet. Think about the Roman culture and the Greek culture. They're probably the 2 cultures that we think have affected Europe after the Christian culture itself. It's strange, isn't it, that we don't call it the Italian culture or the Athenian culture. We call one after a country and one after a city. And there's something important there, because Greece wasn't united in the same sort of way that Rome was. Greece was united by a vision, really by 2 stories, the Odyssey and the Iliad, and the importance of drawing out truths from those stories that gave us all a common identity. If you look at a picture of Athens, there's one sort of hill, mountain, and on top of it was the Acropolis and the Temple of Athena. No one could all fit into there, but it was like looking up and trying to think through what God was trying to tell us. One of the important things of Greek philosophy was coming to an understanding of there being one God. So although they kept the sort of Olympus and such, actually in philosophically they started looking up. They started trying to think, what is it to be human? What is it to be a good citizen? What is freedom? What is tolerance? What is truth? And they tried to see it conceptually, and they realized there is only one God. Everything is so ordered that it has to come from one God. And so that coming to an intellectual understanding of there being one God was very important to the fact that there was Socrates and Plato and Aristotle, and that philosophy that has changed the way we think and is really helpful. Whereas the Romans, and I'm not knocking them, they tended to build roads, they tended to be very practical and visible, and so the Pax Romanum wasn't let's have a common vision, it's sort of do as you're told and things will go well for us. And you can see why aspects of both help us to grow. Bearing with me a little bit, please, but Aristotle asked about causes, and he used an example of making a statue. And he came to the understanding that there's 4 basic causes. what do I need for a statue to be made? So there's the material, the marble or whatever it is. There's the efficient cause, that's the ability to chisel away, including the tools, which make it a bit easier. But also there's the form, there's the vision of the statue inside the sculptor's brain, their mind. And fourthly, there's the end, there's the purpose. Why am I doing this? It might be just to make money, it might be because I think someone deserves a statue in the market square, whatever the reason is. So 4 causes: material and efficient, those are the things you can see, sort of thing, especially the immediately efficient. And then the form and the purpose, which you can't see. And they're all important. And science took off in the 17th century when Bacon realised that efficient and material are the realm of physics, and form and purpose are in the realm of philosophy and theology. And so I suppose I give that as an example, because when we see the results of the explosion, if you like, of science in the 17th century, because all 4 causes are important but distinct, then I hope it gives you heart as to understand why we do need to try and get our children to think conceptually about what it is to be human. So it's hard. I think year 5 and 6 are particularly hard, but it's deliberately so. So because they are like sponges, but they're still excited about it all. And so the encouragement for you really is to persevere. And the best feedback we've had is from teachers who've said, gosh, this looked a bit hard, I'm busy enough as it is, but I gave it a go, and you know what, I've learnt from this, because most of us haven't done this thinking through, and we take it for granted what freedom is and tolerance is and such, but I think it will help you, and by doing that, then you will just be giving the lessons from you as a person, rather than sort of something to do so I can move on. I hope that helps.